Hey guys, welcome to the video. Today we'll be discussing a very awesome topic, and it will be very helpful when you are programming websites. Because it's really important to understand what's going on with your website when someone's using it. For example, let me give you an example real quick, okay? Let's go to the internet, and let's just go on to the Google homepage. Okay. Here we are on the Firefox main page where you go every time you start a new web browser session. So let's go to let's just go to www.google.com, and as you can see, it brings up Google's page, search engine page, and here we just have some front end HTML tags. But let's go to the back end. So let's ping www.google.com, and this will just grab this and it will tell us what we're getting. Okay, so let's stop it so it doesn't give us all this because we don't want this, and we only want this. So we just copy this, and now what we did before is we searched www.google. But watch what happens if I paste this in. This has nothing to do with Google, right? So I paste this in, and it takes us to Google, because every single one of these names is basically like an alias for the actual IP address. Because what we're doing is we're going to a computer or server, and we are requesting this IP address. So it's basically, this is the name of a server somewhere in the world, and we are just accessing its data, its input. So basically, if people set up web servers, that's what's happening, is the computer is just becoming the website basically, and they can host it, just like that. So now that we understand the basics, but what is actually happening here? What is HTTP protocol? Well, HTTP protocol is the connectionless text-based protocol. So basically, this is what it is right here. But what happens is when I go to the website or you go to the website, we request web information. So there's some server out there holding the data, and we are asking that server for the data. So when we go to a favorite website, let's say we want to go to some awesome website like YouTube, okay? We are asking the servers for the data, and we're requesting the element or the page. Okay, and same thing happens with pictures. We can request pictures, and this is also very helpful to know when you're doing web scraping. Yeah, so what happens when you request a website page? So what happens when you send this? Basically, you're sending a request message to the server, to the internet, the web browser, and then the web browser sends that to your destination. So for instance, Google.com is a destination. It is a location on the internet, and if we go to that location, this is where it brings us. So these are basically when you type in a name up here, this is just going to be a location you want to go to. Kind of like when you go to, if you're traveling and you go to Hawaii or something, that is a location. This is a location as well. Okay, so we got that. If everything is correct, you get a 200 code, which basically what this means is that it was successful. So you can use requests with Python stuff, and you can see if it was successful connecting to the internet or asking for the website. And if it is, then you can do something or whatever. But that's request is a very like a main thing in the internet. Okay, and then you can connect to access certain websites. You need to check if you're real or not. So like if I wanted to go to some website like Instagram, I would have to make sure that they know that I'm a real user. So say I'm using an Instagram bot that I made myself, I would have to say that I have a user agent, and that's Python stuff. You can watch a video I made on web scraping for more information. But my user agent, you can get this just by going here, and it will give you your user agent. This is going to be for your web browser and your operating system in your machine. And once you have all of this, once you have this, you can actually use that later. And this is basically like this is one of the components in the headers. And okay. So this is every time your web browser opens a web page, it sends a request for that page. Part of the request includes a series of headers. These headers may vary from site to site. In particular, the host and cookie headers, depending on your settings. So here we go. We got a user agent right here, and as you can see, this is gonna tell the website that we're trying to go to, or the web browser, that we are actually using a real website and we are a real user. And then we got some more stuff, Apache stuff, and we'll go on Apache later, but let's just get back to basics. Okay, so we know what happens when we request a website, right? The web browser sends an HTTP request message to the server, asking it to send a copy of the website to the client. You go to the shop, order your goods. This message and all the other data sent between the client and the server is sent across the internet connection using the TCP or IP address. Okay, what is an IP address? Well, this is a very common thing. As you can see, this, like what we were doing before, this is an IP address. An IP address is basically a name or an ID for a computer somewhere. Here, I got it written down. I wrote it out for you. So, IP address stands for Internet Protocol Address. It is an identifying number that is associated with a specific computer or a computer network. When connected to the internet, the IP address allows the computers to send and receive information. So it's basically it's a name in int. First the number starts off as an int variable. So first it starts off as 101010, right? And then we convert that to something like WAWWJ, right? And we can do this that's basically what this is. We have a IP address, and then we can assign it a domain name, which will just be like www.google, right? And that is what an IP address is, and that is what happens when you go to a website. First you send out a request for the web page when you search, okay? Then your web browser notices that you want it, and so it goes to the website and asks, and it goes, hey, I want to collect this data and put it here on this computer in this location at this IP address. So it doesn't just ask for the computer's IP address. Once you actually go to Google, Google will say, well, what is this? What is the IP address of the computer that wants to access the website? And then your web browser will send that to the website, and then the website will send the files to the IP address of your computer. So it will know locations and stuff like that for where you are, which is how they block certain content in certain countries, which is a VPN can basically scramble that, and it creates basically a fake IP address that will be anywhere in the world so that they can't track your location. So that's what happens, and that is what happens when you search up a website, and what happens when you publish a website or something like that. What happens when you're the person that owns the website, right? What happens if you are using some kind of host company and they have the servers and all that? Well, basically, when you're using a company to host your website, you're just using their servers and you're just putting your files in it. So if we go to something like GoDaddy, right? That is a website. That is a agency that a company that will actually put your website on their servers, and it will host your website, right? And then all you got to do is just give it the files you want to host. But when you're creating your own, maybe you're using a computer, or maybe you're using an actual web OS, or maybe you're using a Raspberry Pi, you can, you have to specify yourself that it is going to be a web server. So I hope that this was helpful. I hope you learned what happens when you search on the internet, on the web, and hope you subscribe, because I love pumping out the videos, and it would be very inspirational and very motivating for me. Not inspirational, but motivational if you could just click the little red subscribe button and like the video. Anyway, I hope this video taught you something, and I know that some of you guys have been requesting it, so I made it. Peace out. Bye.